Hi everyone, this is Low Fiber Girl here, and today I would like to give you an update on some changes that I've made and just talk about a couple of subjects. But before I get into food and diet talk, I just want to say that I am fully aware that there are more important things going on in the world than my diet changes, so I don't want to be sounding so, like self-absorbed or something. I completely understand that there are so many important things and so many people suffering with the ongoing war, which I'm not going to discuss here. Obviously, I am not a channel that's focused on geopolitics, but I am definitely keeping up with all that. And, no matter what people's, thoughts and opinions are on it, we must look to the facts. And the facts are that we are definitely facing global economic crisis as well as global food shortage coming up this summer and towards then towards the end of the year. So I want to just say, heads up everybody, this is critical and this is going to affect America, food prices and food shortages as well. What to speak of gasoline prices. So anyway, so I want to just put that side note out there that I'm fully aware that there's very drastic, important things going on in the world. But now back to some food talk. So I've made some changes in my diet. I came to the realization of what was causing my bloating that I was having. And as I was trying to do a fat-free milk diet approach, I still was feeling very uncomfortable in my stomach, and I couldn't really resolve it. I thought, is it the lactose? Is it the whey protein? What is the deal? So there are several things, and one is I found out that I can only tolerate evaporated milk and not even powdered milk and not even fresh milk. And the reason is because I do have a whey protein intolerance. I don't know if I would actually call it an allergy, because that people that have an allergy, I'm sure experience it's critical to where they have to avoid, mostly all dairy. But I definitely have an intolerance to it. And when they commercially make evaporated milk, it is heated to such an extent that the whey protein is denatured and broken down, and it becomes more digestible for people who have whey protein intolerance. So I can see that is probably the reason why. And I know it had nothing to do with the lactose, because I was taking lactase enzyme while consuming these milks and the other milks. And no matter how much lactase enzyme, I would take on like fresh milk or powdered milk, it still wasn't helping the feelings that I would get. For that, it would make me stuffy. I was like, why am I getting stuffy on fat-free milk? I'm like, well, it shouldn't be the lactose, because when I bought lactose-free, fat-free milk in the liquid form, I was getting a stuffy nose, and that's how I knew. I'm like, okay, this has nothing to do with lactose. This is to do with I have an allergy to the whey protein. And I know it's not the casein, because I can eat mozzarella string cheese and don't get a stuffy nose. It's just when it's the liquid, so it's the whey protein. And now that I think about it, every time I've eaten certain things, like half and half, which would definitely have a lot of which would have a lot of whey protein, different types of creams would have it. But I'm tolerating right now sour cream, and I'm keeping up with taking vitamin C supplements, because that combats the histamine problem. Vitamin C is an antihistamine. So if you have histamine intolerance, if you just keep supplementing with vitamin C, it kind of calms it down, and I noticed that's been helping. So I'm doing okay, so back to the story. The story was I was making this pudding with fat-free milk, and then I noticed that I'm like, okay, even when I'm using the very well tolerated evaporated milk, here I am feeling really bloated and uncomfortable. What is the problem? Well, I realized it's the cornstarch itself, because when I was consuming the evaporated milk without making it into pudding, just like sipping on it, I would not feel this bloatedness. It's the cornstarch that I have an intolerance to. And I read up on it, and it says that cornstarch causes bloating and indigestion primarily because it's a highly refined carbohydrate that can ferment in the gut, especially when undigested due to a lack of enzymes. It is difficult to break down, leading to rapid fermentation by bacteria, producing gas, or can cause physical blockages if consumed in large quantities. Fermentation in the gut. If cornstarch is not fully broken down in the small intestine, it moves to the colon, where bacteria ferment it, creating gas and bloating. Enzyme deficiency. Some individuals lack sufficient enzymes called like amylase to break down complex starch molecules, leading to cramping, bloating, and diarrhea. Also, there's a warning about eating raw cornstarch. It says eating raw cornstarch is especially hard on the digestive system as heat helps pre-break down starch, making it easier to digest. Also, if you have starch intolerance or sensitivity, some people have a specific sensitivity to corn or starch where the digestive system struggles to process it. So this is what I have concluded, because it seems like the higher the starch content, then more bloating happens to me. I have experimented making like cream of rice cereal, and I noticed that I have less problems than with cornstarch, but still it's not very good either. And I'm like, okay, so it's proportionate. Cornstarch has the most starch, and it also has some resistant starch too, which would be problematic. And then rice has a little less, but the one I'm doing the best with is wheat. And that's so surprising because it has gluten. And I have been eating graham crackers dipped into sour cream. So good, so delicious. And it doesn't cause me any bloating. And I even made a pancake with cake flour, which is wheat flour. And I put sugar-free dressing on it. Sugar-free syrup on it. And the cake flour doesn't cause any bloating either. So for some reason, I'm doing better with wheat than with either corn or rice, corn being the worst. Corn is the worst offender to my gut. And so I completely eliminated cornstarch from my diet. And I also remember that I don't do well with tapioca, and I experience kind of the same things with tapioca. And tapioca pudding with the pearls, and also tapioca flour, which is called tapioca starch, and making that into pudding. I don't even do well with that either. So, you know what? I am ditching starch, and I don't think that we are designed to eat starch, unlike the Starch Solution by Dr. John McDougall. I was listening to Dr. Doug Graham, who is the 80-10-10 proponent founder, who speaks highly of fruit over starch, and he has discussed how we are not designed to eat starch, and our bodies lack the ability to really break down starch. And didn't that just say that you can't eat raw starch? It's just putting out a warning right here on this breakdown about cornstarch. And it says it's especially hard on the digestive system. Why? If we were meant to eat starch, why would it be so hard? Right, because we're not meant to eat starch. And that's why you take a very green, unripe banana full of resistant starch, And it can cause a whole bloating digestive disaster, even though, yeah, it's better for your blood sugar. Sure, better for your blood sugar, but horrible on your gut. And then when it ripens, that starch inside the banana turns into simple sugars. And then your body can easily process that without it hurting your gut. See, we're meant to eat simple sugars, not starch. And that's why, like, I eat every day, every freaking day, I eat semi-sweet chocolate chips, which are loaded with sugar. And I have no problem digesting that. It never makes me bloated. I never get cramps, nothing. And so those, little amounts of sugar like that, I don't have any problem with. Cane sugar doesn't harm my stomach. It might harm my blood sugar, but I don't eat very much of it. So I keep it on the low. But yeah, that's the thing. So now, presently, my diet is like where I use sour cream and I like add some water to it to make it into kind of a pudding consistency. And then I sweeten it with sugar-free syrup and sucralose. And then I dip things into it. I put in the chocolate chips. I put in, I take and crush up graham crackers and put those in there, and I eat it, and it's so good. It's like having granola. It's so good. So that's one of the meals that I do. And then, secondly, I'm going to be experimenting making a different kind of porridge, not with cornstarch. I am going to be trying out semolina flour later today to see if that might work for making porridge, since that's semolina, which is durum wheat, which is going to be lower in starch. It's a higher in protein type of wheat. In fact, it's made from hard wheat instead of soft wheat. This is the kind of flour they use in making pasta, because it holds together really nicely for making the noodles. So anyway, I'm just going to try it because it would give the reason I'm wanting to use that is it would give the right texture and consistency, like farina, for making a cereal. If the semolina doesn't work out, then I'm going to be getting some farina, but I don't want the cream of wheat in the store or the malto because they fortify it with iron. And I'm at risk to have too much iron in my diet from all the chocolate that I eat. So I don't appreciate the added iron. So I'm going to get some unfortified farina if the semolina doesn't work out. But yeah, I'm going to, because I still want a way to make to thicken up the evaporated milk to make some pudding out of it. And if worse comes to worse, then I'll ditch the evaporated milk and I won't even use it at all, and I'll just do sour cream. And for protein, I can try out some cottage cheese, see if that goes okay. So those are the updates. So that was my realization, really, why I'm making this video, is I realized how poorly designed we are to consume starch or starchy foods. And the higher the starch is like the worse the problem, even though how they say, like, oh, starch is so digestible, it's actually not. It's not that digestible. And I think many people have problems with it. So just some food for thought there. All right, well, hope everyone is doing well, and you all have a great day.